Hello everyone, welcome to yet another day in this The Clown Decade. It's going to get worse before it gets better, and given this election season, that really does seem to be coming true. But forget all that stuff for now, bit of housekeeping first. As many of the more avid followers of me will know, I have been part of something called the Wellington Project, and we're having something of a soft rebrand at the moment, being a bit less overtly political and a bit more let's make a network for people online that are, politically interested, but really have a lot more well-rounded interests as well. So currently we have rebranded to the Worcester Club, for those of you wondering why we've gone with such a name. It's because it's the first place where me and the other founders of the Wellington Project, such as John, Joz and British Knight, all met up for our first meetup. And given we couldn't quite decide exactly what specifically our club was going to be about, it's a bit of a wide berth, so to speak, but we decided to just go with a place name, a place we actually quite liked. And the idea is that it's pretty much like basket weavers, if you're ever a fan of AA. Well, you make an online network, and then if you happen to live near a few other people and have things you all want to do, feel free to, as you say, network and meet up, whether that's wanted to play Warhammer with each other, you're interested in seeing something in your area but don't necessarily want to go alone, you want to take up a hobby and other people might be interested. You can throw out feelers within the map and roles and channels we've put together for pretty much everyone in the United Kingdom and see what networks we can make from there, because honestly, in the near future, being overtly political online might be very risky. And to be honest with you, what we ended up doing in the Wellington Project was talking about an awful lot more than just politics anyway, so widening exactly what we do seemed like the best option. Having said that, I am still doing my The Other Side of the Hill streams on the Worcester Club channel as it is now. For those who don't know, it's on a 2-weekly basis with the news show and 2-weekly basis on the random topic show. So once every 2 weeks we just go through stories that have come up during the week, and tonight it is one of those episodes. We're obviously going to be covering the election. That's why I'm covering TikTok today, because that's something that only I'm only really going to want to talk about. A lot of other guests are going to want to talk about the wider array of topics about the election and of course other things. So don't worry, I'm still going to be talking about serious stuff as well. This is not just a TikTok review show. But then every off week from the news show, we cover a random topic as decided by people on the Worcester Club Discord. If you wish to join the Discord below, you can put in your topic suggestions for things you want to talk about, and if your topic suggestion wins, you have the chance, of course, to come on and talk about it, or even request who would you like on for said show. So far, things we've talked about on that show are Harry Potter and its consequences on society, how literally you should take the Bible, and also Dominic Cummings' plans and his ideas to start a new party. So we're still overtly political on that show sometimes, it depends what's picked. But honestly, that show could be talking about 3 hours of Warhammer and it would still be within what we do. So if you find any of that interesting, please do join the Discord below, and also there is a link to the channel as well. And tonight, obviously, I'll be throwing out a reminder video, just a quick 30-second thing to take you straight to the Other Side of the Hill newscast. Right, with all the housekeeping done, we can finally get into the topic of the day. So, as mentioned in the title, obviously, both parties are trying to get on with the TikTok generation. The youth vote, the type of people who watch TikTok, which unfortunately includes myself. It's pretty much entirely Gen Alpha and Gen Z's wheelhouse. It's where an awful lot of them get their entertainment, a bit like how Vine was for millennials. And it's only natural that politicians are going to try and chase votes within that demographic on this platform. So I think it's quite interesting to see how that campaign is going for both the main parties. I don't really care about Lib Dems or anyone else, because the only outcomes of this election are Labour is going to win, and are the Tories going to be the second largest party with 200 seats or less than 100? We don't know yet. But seeing how they chase the youth vote could swing things one way or another for when it comes to the Tories getting their seats. So let's see how Rishi Sunak decided to start going after the youth vote.
TikTok, sorry to be breaking into your usual politics-free feed, but I'm making a big announcement today, and I've been told that a lot of you already have some views on it. So, first thing, no, I'm not sending everyone off to join the army. What I am doing is proposing a bold new model of national service for 18-year-olds. They'll be able to choose to spend 12 months in a full-time military commission, or 1 weekend per month volunteering in roles within your local community.
So I don't know who edits these things, but they've got the very basics right. Rishi Sunak talking here isn't exactly that energetic, and so they're trying to make up for that with the constant cuts in editing, just changing the zoom levels. That's pretty much all you need to keep Zoomers' attention. They've also obviously got graphics up, and they've obviously used AI to put the subtitles on. This is classic TikTok. This seems to be done by someone who is actually a Zoomer and actually has TikTok, so at least they're not completely incompetent. I do really enjoy as well how just completely different the approach is when delivering this policy to older people and younger people. To the older people, it's national service, that's all you need to know. To the younger people, it's you don't need to join the army. You can just talk to a dementia patient once a month for 12 months.
Like delivering prescriptions and food to elderly people, or in search and rescue. This will give all young people valuable life skills, make our country more secure, and build a stronger national culture.
I mean, effectively what this sounds like is national service is either join the army for a year or do part-time, not even part-time, do half a day's charity work once a month. Which, to be honest with you, I'm not even necessarily against. The whole point of what national service is supposed to be, especially for the European countries, is that you train up your 18-year-olds so that they are ready for war, should you happen to go into one. This is why an awful lot of national service is policy in a lot of countries that border Russia, and obviously Cyprus as well, because, half of their island has been taken over. However, it looks like with this policy, and Rishi Sunak isn't exactly changing this idea from this TikTok alone, it's that basically there's a lot of youth unemployment and we want to kind of change that. So for a lot of you, you'll just be going to the army, but for those of you that work or in education, don't worry, you're just going to have to do charity work instead. But we're going to, I say force you to do that, but we'll get a bit more into that. For now, let's finish off the TikTok.
Plus, people will receive best-in-class training in critical skills, from cyber to civil engineering and leadership. But
that's part of the whole idea I'm not against either. For some people, they will get, as he says, not necessarily state-of-the-art, so I'm not actually sure on that, but they will get decent training in skills that we probably will need in the future, such as cybersecurity, and leadership skills are just good no matter where you are in life or what generation you're from.
Look, I know a lot of you will have questions on this, so follow the account, put your thoughts in the comments, and I'll be replying in the next few days.
And he does actually do that.
Great question from Kieran, thank you.
The question, which I think is a fair one, is who is paying me to do this? And I presume he means to spend a year in the military, or presumably when you're training to do leadership or cybersecurity, that's kind of an apprenticeship thing. But, well, I'll let Rishi Sunak answer.
Now, as is the case in other countries, we'll provide a stipend to help with living costs for those doing the military element alongside their training. Meanwhile, on the civic side, we'll make sure organisations have funding for training and administration.
Okay, so the military side of things you're going to get paid for as if it's a job. Fair enough. The other things which, you're benefiting from training and you're doing charity work, why would you be paid for that? On the bright side, it appears that the training will be free. As I say, this side isn't the worst thing in the world, and as an option instead of having to join the military, probably not a bad idea either. I know people that went to university from other countries to avoid having to do national service. So instead of encouraging them to go abroad, why not train them here? We've been asking for governments to train our own people for quite a while. This is actually probably a good way to do it. Either do the training or join the army. And honestly as well, when it comes to engaging with young people, I don't think this is the worst way to do it. Rishi Sunak directly talking at a camera to them on TikTok, and the editing basically managing to keep their attention, for lack of a better term. Yeah, I don't think this is awful. The problem is that Rishi Sunak and his policies are really easy to meme. And you won't be surprised to know that they've done absolutely nothing on TikTok to promote the fact that they just announced a quadruple lock on pensions, but again, that's something for the other side of the hill tonight. Anyway, here is Rishi Sunak's second reply.
Really important question from Caden, and I know that this question is on lots of people's minds.
The question being, what happens if I refuse the whole thing?
And the simple answer is no, they wouldn't go to prison. It's right that those who contribute to our system are rewarded, and those who refuse receive none of the benefit, and the Royal Commission will explore an appropriate incentives regime for this.
I don't think that's the best thing to do when there's 5 weeks left of this campaign, to say, we'll find out the best solution to this. I suppose, yeah, on the bright side, at least they're not saying that they'll send them to prison, but if that's the case, it's not national service then, is it? And there was talk of, obviously, the parents would be the ones fined if they didn't make their kids go on to this national service. How you fine an adult for the decision another adult makes, I'm not sure. But this seems to be part of their campaign where they are throwing things to the wall and seeing what sticks. Anyway, out of the 5 videos the Tories currently have on TikTok, this was another one. Again, 4 videos dedicated to this national service idea, and I think a lot of people are still in the dark on what it actually means. They vaguely know they either have to do charity work, join the army, or do some training. Exactly what any of that looks like, it's hard to say, apart from obviously the military side. But they did put out this video of younger people reacting to what they think of the national service idea.
I think it would be good for like our generation, because I think once you finish school you don't really know what you're going to do. Like it will teach you like life skills that you can obviously like use in the future, and yeah, I think it will be good for the younger generation.
So for a lot of reasons this feels very scripted to me. The words that give it away are, I think this will be good for the younger generation, when these two are clearly of the younger generation. I mean, to be fair, they're obviously over 18, but if you really want this policy to sell, you need to hopefully get people reacting saying, oh, I wish I could have done this, rather than, oh, that'll be good for them. I mean, to be fair, the first young woman did echo what I have heard a lot of other people say when I was at uni, which is, God, I don't really know what to do. I mean, a lot of 18-year-olds, a lot do go to uni. It's less than half, it's something like 40%. But even then, what do the 60% that don't make it to uni or don't want to go to uni, what do they do? And yeah, getting them straight into job training for cybersecurity, leadership roles, or engineering or whatever else, not a bad idea. You can outsource that to people and the government can pay for the training there. And if they were smart about it, they'd also have a network to get hiring done quickly post that training. Other people who have absolutely no option, yeah, sure, put them into national service, put them into the military, why not? And if they already do have a plan, hey, spend half a Saturday or half a Sunday doing things for your local community. Yeah, it's not a bad idea. Do I wish I had it? Post-uni, I suppose so. If nothing else, the threat of joining national service would have sped-run me into getting a job. Because after I left uni, I had 6 to 9 months, I can't exactly remember. Actually, I don't think it was that long. About 6 months not having a job and not really trying to look for one, and getting the easiest one that I could find, which was working in a shop. And I am open about that just being because I'm lazy. If I had this looming over me, I would have found that job a lot quicker, and I probably would have tried to find a better one. So all these incentives, they do seem pretty good to me, but the way they're selling it on TikTok, it could be a hell of a lot worse. I don't think it's the best, but to be fair, I still think it's on the alright side of things.
I think it's a great idea. I think it's quite interesting to see it being put out there.
I mean, this is another issue with this. I don't want to call it a faux vox pop. It sounds scripted to me. That one didn't sound scripted at all, actually. That sounded basically like a woman that didn't want to offend anyone. That sounded like a young woman that was just saying, that is an idea. That is certainly an idea of our generation. That's all she was really saying there. Again, if you're putting that as your second clip, it's not really selling the policy.
Make them respect, like, their elders a bit more, so it might put a bit more respect into them, a bit more discipline, because I think the country's lost its discipline.
That's the type of reaction I would probably try and keep off TikTok. I would not have a greying... I mean, to be fair, it looks like he's greying from stress rather than anything else, but I would not have a greying middle-aged gentleman saying what we need to do is beat respect into this younger generation. That's not going to get people on side. The younger generation, I say on side, when effectively what this sounds like is a punishment for not respecting elders enough. Now, to be fair, I actually do agree with him. However, it's not the way I would sell the policy to them either.
I think that's a great idea, you know, because I never had an opportunity to do it in my home country. I believe that's a great idea. This will give a sense of belongingness to the younger generation when they know that they got to do something like this. I would definitely love and I would encourage my children to go for it.
Yeah, that's the type of energy you really want from a vox pop, but as I say, it just looks like he's a paid actor. He's a businessman in a suit. When younger generation see things from the Tories and they see a man like this in a suit, they think, oh, yeah, that's clearly a Tory party stooge. And even I think that. And I don't think that these are necessarily paid actors. I think they are just weirdos from the Tory party, quite frankly. Like, no offence to these people, but people who join the Tory party, especially if they're younger, they are just weird people. Because you kind of have to be, because it's not normal as a younger person to be in the Tory party. I myself, I am quite open about being a bit weird. And if you're a bit weird, you're also probably a bit socially awkward. And this is why an awful lot of these reactions are coming across as stiff. Because these people are just naturally stiff.
It will create a stronger community, we'll learn interesting values. It would just be really, really interesting. I think it's a great idea, personally.
And this girl's probably the worst one for that type of thing. I mean, absolutely no offence intended to her whatsoever, but I genuinely think this is just how she naturally talks. I don't think any of these people were paid actors. I think it just really comes across as they were, because as I say, I think they're all naturally, outside of the norm, we'll say, and in doing so are just naturally awkward, and so come across as naturally awkward, and therefore basically come across as bad actors. Not the best thing to put up on TikTok, but hopefully, I would hope that they start flooding TikTok with more of Rishi directly talking to the younger generation. The problem the Tories have at the moment is that they're not really offering the younger generation an awful lot. If they were planning to put forward a whole bunch of apprenticeship schemes, if they were serious about the government-provided training to upskill them to get better jobs, if they were raising the personal allowance so that they wouldn't be taxed as easily, or hey, even just say the first £50,000 that you earn will not be taxed whatsoever, then that is a massive thing you can sell to them. But obviously a lot of people say, oh, well, how are you going to get that money? The thing is, the cash cows for the income tax bracket, it's the talented middle class. People on £50,000 and above. When it comes to minimum wage and getting tax from the working class, that doesn't make up... It makes up quite a lot of it because there's so much of the working class. That's why they make up so much of it. But really, the people you're getting the most bang for your buck for are effectively talented middle class workers. Anyone over £100,000 a year, man, they're on a 40% rate. You don't have to touch them if you want the young on side. Literally give them a tax break. And for God's sake, I genuinely think they've earned it after lockdowns, after creating an economy that makes a housing market where it doesn't even look possible that they can buy one. Just give them a bit of a tax break. It's unbelievable how much money you will get from that, but no, what are they doing instead? Doing that but for OAPs. Literally the luckiest generation alive. Anyway, their final TikTok that they have up at the moment is Again, it's a bit of an own goal. It's a series of pictures that give you the threat level of popular Labour ministers. So, for example, here's David Lammy, risks, voted against renewing our nuclear deterrent. Okay, I can see why people would see that as a bad thing, even the younger generation. Continue to back Corbyn as anti-Semitism ran rife in the Labour Party. That's probably only going to be relevant, I'm going to be honest here, to Jewish people of the younger generation. That's the only people who are going to care about that. A lot more people of the younger generation are going to continue to back Corbyn and basically just say based. Thanks for convincing me to vote Labour. Finally, backed overruling the Brexit referendum result. Again, the young people, their initial reaction to Brexit was, oh, all these old people are going to die, they shouldn't have got a vote. Do you really think that they are going to be against the idea that some MPs were against Brexit? Next up, it's Angela Rayner, under police investigation for serious tax avoidance. Look, all the younger generation really know about the Tories is that they all avoid tax. You ask any of them, that is one of the first things that comes up. So trying to attack Labour on this point, while it is well-founded, and I do think it is a fair attack, again, know your audience. They're just going to say people in glass houses. Plans to burn business with £41 billion a year of extra cost with French-style union laws. Again, that is a signal to the boomers. That is something that the non-socialist boomers would like to hear. they would say, oh, French-style union laws, yeah, that's obviously bad. I remember the 70s. The younger generation are going to go, union laws? Wow, that's actually good. Know your audience, for God's sake. Voted against renewing our nuclear deterrent. Again, pretty much the only one that I can see the younger generation saying that sounds bad. It's quite amazing, actually. The Tories are trying to treat the younger generation with some kind of respect to their intelligence. Unironically, you shouldn't be doing that. Honestly, I know these people. I talk to these people. A lot of these people say they like Angela Rayner because, oh, I like the way she says things. They literally just like her because she has a northern working class voice. Saying that she's northern and working class, they're just going to go based. That's effectively what you've done here. Next up, we have Rachel Reeves backed 20 billion tax raid on ordinary savers. Again, you're talking to a generation that barely has any savings. They don't care. Plans to purge the UK into a £38.5 billion budget black hole. What about Liz Truss will be the average reply. Again, how do I know this? Because I talk to a lot of people who are my age and younger, and whenever I say I am a fan of Liz Truss, it's the only thing they bring up, because they don't understand what happened. I think most of the Tories understand what happened, but the problem is that you all attack Liz Truss on the same absolute nonsense basis, so you dug your own hole there. We'll target British pensioners with more tax. Wow. That's something that the young don't want. You made a load of attacks that the boomers would absolutely love and gave it to the younger generation. One of the biggest differentiators between voting intentions is age. And you literally gave yourself an open goal with this. This is by far the worst thing I've seen on TikTok so far. And my girlfriend shows me a lot of degenerate stuff that happens on TikTok. Finally, Keir Starmer tried to make Corbyn Prime Minister twice. Based, again, that's what the young will say. Would grant asylum amnesty to 90,000 people with no right to be in the UK. That's kind of 50-50 with the younger generation, to be honest. I've noticed over time that initially with a lot of the younger generation, they said, oh, what's wrong with them? Surely they're coming over for good reason. But I think as time's gone on, it's become pretty undeniable how bad the issues got with illegal immigration. And finally, radical net zero plans that could cost the UK billions. Again, you're telling people that feel like they have no money that this is going to cost other people all their money. They don't care about public funds because they know they're getting taxed, but they know they're not getting taxed anywhere near the amount that, quote-unquote, the rich are getting taxed. And, in fact, they want them to get taxed more because you've done nothing about an education system that promotes that train of thought. You've done nothing about the university system that is implanting these train of thoughts as well, and you have done absolutely nothing to give them reason to think that they can either be entrepreneurs or businessmen or make any money by themselves. You have given them absolutely no reason for hope. Of course they are going to go towards the new, simply because it is different. So, basically, in conclusions of the Tories, keep doing the Sunak talks, the young bits. I think they're probably the best you've got for now. Definitely don't do those pictures again, my God. That is just asking to lose the entirety of Gen Z and Generation Alpha forever. And yeah, if you're going to do Vox Pops, don't. Because a lot of people will know that it's Tories doing this Vox Pop stuff and they will not give you positive reactions. And asking your own people, yeah, people can tell they're socially awkward and it just looks like they're being paid to say what they're saying. Anyway, Labour have been a lot more active on the TikTok side of things because they know that they can win over the younger generation. Even though quite a few people in the younger generation seem to think that Labour are far too right-wing. Again, I don't think people actually understand just how far left the Overton window has gone as the generations go younger. I keep hearing all this stuff about, oh, but the Gen Z boys and the Gen Alpha boys, they're all rejecting this woke stuff. No, that's not true. They're not rejecting it because they're noticing girls. And girls are absolutely redonkulously far left. And what's the best way to get into their pants? Just tell them that, yeah, Marx was right, can we have sex now? So let's see how Labour are going to try and play off on that. Take it away, Keir Starmer.
Change. That is what this election is about. And if you want to be part of delivering that change, then vote change, vote Labour.
It's only 11 seconds, but it already has... It's oozing with energy. It's far better than anything I've seen on the Conservative TikTok. And I mean, just from other policies that have been announced, it basically looks like that the Tory strategy here is to effectively consistently bribe the over 50s with everything they can. And part of bribing them is effectively bully the younger generation. Because that seems to be an awful lot of what works. And I mean, it's still probably the biggest voting bloc. But at the same time, the Tories have done absolutely nothing to curb immigration, and given that, you know, people from India can vote here on day one, which, to be fair, actually, the Indians probably will vote Tory because Indian elites are basically telling them to, but from other countries as well, like Pakistan and elsewhere, they can, if they're in the Commonwealth, simply vote as soon as they get here. And a lot of people in the Commonwealth are just going to vote Labour, especially with their far more pro-immigration stance, apart from India. So, as far as I'm concerned, the Tories deserve to lose because they've done absolutely nothing to prepare themselves for this, and in fact, invited people over that not only hate the country, but hate them. I don't know what they expected to happen. I mean, I suppose this is a problem when your entire policy is based on economic spreadsheets and nothing else. Anyway, as I say, annoyingly good energy on TikTok. I'm not shocked about that, though. You're going to have good energy when you are, 40 points ahead in the polls or something stupid, probably exaggerating that. And you absolutely know this platform is just going to be absolutely filled to the brim with your sycophants. And having said that, they're so confident that they're even going with the meme game.
Forward to all the football.
Not so much my bag.
Well, get people in.
No, but that's because you guys aren't in it.
Yeah, for those people that have missed it, Rishi Sunak on his literal first day of his campaign, he was in Wales and asked Welsh people are they looking forward to the football, and then was quickly reminded there that Wales didn't actually make it into the Euros. And so, yeah, it was quite a blunder. But, I mean, this is the problem. You start a surprise campaign, you're not going to be fully prepared for it. He clearly wasn't fully prepared. He's trying to make conversation. It just, it comes across as pretty bad. I'm not shocked that Labour are capitalising on it and, again, doing pretty well. Yeah, the whole getting rained on thing when announcing the election, just easy open goals. I don't know what he was doing.
What sets you apart for the future? To, benefit that, results and stop the small boats coming?
Yeah, thank you. You're right. It is an important question. And I guess the question first is why?
I suppose to play a slight defence there for having this question and answer session with actual Tory councillors who were in high vis, obviously I think to make it look like they were workers, is that, well, Tory councillors are not picked by CCHQ. They are actually a different breed to Tory MPs and especially the Prime Minister, because parliamentary politics is quite a different thing to local politics. And from my understanding, at least from councillors I know, they really don't like parliamentary candidates a lot of the time, and they will ask questions like this and be quite genuine, but a lot of people won't know that, and again, it's a really easy way to attack the Tories. So the meme game's pretty good. I mean, I don't want to say it's a lost battle on TikTok, but the Tories aren't really even trying to do anything good on it. Even the good stuff that they are doing, I still don't think is that great. I mean, replying to comments, great idea, keep doing that. But as I say, Labour are just so much more active on TikTok, and it's because they are trying to offer a hell of a lot more to the younger voters. Tories basically don't have anything apart from the national service thing that I think is actually going to worry a lot more people than it's going to reassure. Anyway, having said that, not all their memes are great. That's the type of meme where if it was happening in Tony Blair's era with Tony Blair, I'd probably say, wow, that was great. It doesn't quite work for Keir Starmer, though, because, to be honest, Keir Starmer's a bit boring. Keir Starmer is basically Tony Blair with a lot less points being put into charisma, and simply things like that just show it. I mean, it's not that it's a bad meme in terms of its idea, it's a bad meme because it's applied to Starmer, and there's not really an awful lot about him that I don't think anyone would say is particularly cool. Having said that, their meme game when they directly attack the Tories seems to be a lot better when it comes to convincing people, at least from what I can see. Again, this is just good meme game. The enemy are bad, we are good, vote for us. It's all you can really say on TikTok. Again, I don't want to insult too much the younger generation's attention span, but studies have been shown, as they always say. Anecdotes from teachers are always, on the last day of term, typically when I was there, we'd watch a film or play games or do other things. The kids can't even watch films these days. Their attention span doesn't cover it. This rapid fire, look at all these pictures of bad people, here's a few ones of our dear leader. I mean, really, the biggest mistake that Rishi Sunak made was trying to make this a presidential race more than anything. We are the leaders. We're going to go 1v1 on Rust or whatever. Debate me, bro. Things like that. It's simply not how the parliamentary system works. You vote for a local representative, but there's no focus on that at all from either side. And this is just because of the complete Americanization of our politics, and the elite seem to like it. I don't. I don't particularly care for prime ministers and leaders. Yeah, sure, they lead the country, but really that should just be for when it comes to foreign disputes and things like that. It shouldn't be this symbolic head of state. That is the job for King Charles. Your job is to run the country in his name, and you're not acting like you're going to be doing that. Either of them, by the way, I mean. But anyway, back to the meme game. It just appears that absolutely everything the Tories are going to do are going to be an open goal. Because, as I mentioned before, weird people, especially in the younger generation, go to the Tories. The normal people are already in Labour or in any one of the other of the sea of alternative left-wing parties. And because of that, they can actually attract, as I say, normal people into their ranks, and the other people that are going to be making these memes. And as I say, they're pretty good.
Some of you may die, but it's a sacrifice I am willing to make.
Simply an open goal from the Tories. The biggest reason for it, as I say, it's not a necessarily bad idea, and actually the details of it are probably pretty good for younger people, but they are so bad at getting that message across, it just leaves them open to attacks like this. You're all going to war.
Surprise, surprise. Surprise, surprise.
These memes are really easy to make, not only because they're simple meme templates, but also because it's so easy to have a party in power for 14 years and then make it look like they're effectively dictators. Of course it's easy to do that. And as I say, what have the Tories done on this meme game so far? Say, oh, look at all these bad things that the Labour Party are planning to do, and all young people are just going to go, but that's the most base thing ever. Whereas as a younger person, if I was seeing these adverts, I think I'd be very sympathetic to Labour. And honestly, if I was in Labour's communications room, I'd say, yeah, focus on making memes like that. Because they also make memes that are just... Even if I was younger, again, as I say, I would take very cynically. I mean, take a look at this one.
Messi, 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 immens Messi, encara 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 Messi,
Now, don't get me wrong, Sunak's performance there was nothing short of embarrassing. But I'll be honest with you, Keir Starmer's wasn't that impressive either. Honestly, I've played football most of my life. If I saw someone playing like that in a five-a-side, I wouldn't particularly want them on my team. I wouldn't trust that they could accurately or powerfully kick the ball. Out of that whole montage, he had one decent cross, I'd say. The rest of the time, it was either half-hearted shots or Keir just running around without the ball. Again, not looking particularly confident. I mean, this is how unserious politics has got to this point. I'm unironically criticising both leaders' footballing skills, as if that has any relevance to politics whatsoever. The answer is it doesn't, and I think a lot of young people know that it doesn't. And honestly, this type of meme is the type that I would find quite patronising and obviously take quite cynically if I was of the younger generation, because I know politics is serious, but I don't know how seriously other people take it who are younger than me. I don't know if this is the type of thing that would convince a swing voter. I highly doubt it, but it's the type of thing that Labour are putting out as well. Again, I think they should just focus on policy and memeing about that. And as I say, Tory should obviously be doing the same thing, but they're going to have a hard time doing that because simply what are they offering the younger generation? You know, are they offering a chance for them to become entrepreneurs, businessmen, upskill themselves to get really good jobs, or is it worth just them all moving to Australia instead? Because I know a lot of people who have done that and their lives are simply much better for it. Pretty much everyone I know who moved to Australia owns a house with a pool. You know, can Rishi Sunak offer anything on that level? I know Keir Starmer can't either, so it's absolutely pointless because a lot of people are correct. Rishi Sunak and Keir Starmer, fundamentally, they're offering economic orthodoxy. It doesn't really matter who you vote for on that front. That's why when it comes to this vote, you really have to look at more the social side of things, and Peter Hitchens is correct. Keir Starmer is going to complete Blair's revolution and make it impossible to reverse it. I think it's worth voting against that just for that sake alone. But obviously it's hard to convince a lot of people on the online right of that because for some reason they are all chimping out and saying 0 seats, 0 seats, 0 seats, as if voting is some sort of retributive act, when really I think we need to be adults in the room here. I get that it's fun. I get that it's fun to try and get revenge on people that have disappointed you time and time again, and they have disappointed me too. But I don't think giving Labour full access to 500 seats in Parliament and be pushing constantly at the open door of the civil service because they're on the same side is a good thing. In fact, I think it's an actively destructive thing, and I think we've faced enough destruction. Anyway, that is everything I had for you today, so I hope you enjoyed this TikTok review of both the parties. Obviously, I will be talking about more serious things tonight at 9 PM on the other side of the hill. Once again, the link to the Worcester Club is down in the description. And naturally, I will be announcing this every video, but I am planning on having an election night stream that is probably going to go all the way through the night, I don't know, until the early AMs. Depending how depressed I get over the night, because I think it's going to be quite a depressing night, but I think we can make some fun out of it. So look forward to that on the 4th of July. I hope a lot of Americans as well will be happy to watch that during their Independence Day celebrations. In the meantime, that's everything I had for you today, so once again, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.